Hello. Hey.
It's Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
How you doing?
Doing good. How about you?
Pretty good.
What's up?
I have to do a school project. I have to do.
Oh, you want to talk?
Yes, please.
Okay. Good luck.
All right.
It was a good game, huh?
Oh yeah, it was an awesome game.
It was excited.
Oh
Even
yes.
you got excited, I'm sure, huh?
Oh yeah, it was so
I
fun.
was over here jumping up and down, me.
Oh, it was so fun. I can't wait till the next game.
But I bet you they're gonna cream them next time. They're waiting to beat them in California, probably.
Yeah, maybe
Anyway,
so.
we'll take that win with no problem.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'll get football there.
All right.
Love you.
Love you too.
Ryan wants to do a project with. Right now. Okay, you're gonna take it in the office. You can hear better over there, boo.
Okay.
You're gonna interview. You're gonna make 100+++.
I hope so.
A smart man. Hold on there.
Okay.
Hello?
Hey.
Hey?
my
Game last night, man.
Oh, that game was awesome.
You liked it, huh?
Oh yeah, it was so much fun.
You had a lot to eat and everything around.
Oh yeah, they had tons of food.
You had a lot of people?
Yeah, it was full.
No, I'm talking about in the suite.
In the suite, yeah, they had a lot of people. Like, it was more people than I've seen before.
Yeah. So what you need? You need some help with something?
Yeah, I have to do an interview for school, so I chose you.
Okay.
And
What are you interested in?
About your life.
Okay. How you want to do this? You want to do it over the phone right now, so that.
Yeah, sure. Cause I think it's due on Thursday, so.
Okay.
I'm just gonna ask you some questions and then just kind of talk slow, cause I have to record it. So.
You're gonna be able to record it over the phone.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to.
Okay.
Okay, so first of all, what is your birth name?
My real name is Lloyd Joseph Guidry.
Okay, and when were you born?
I was born on July 31, 1934.
Okay, and where were you born?
I was born in Golden Meadow, Louisiana.
All right, and what was your descent?
The what, boo?
Your descent?
I'm a French Cajun.
All right, and were you named after anyone in particular?
No, it was just a name that my mom heard somewhere, and she liked it and decided to call me Lloyd.
All right, and what were your parents' names, and where were they born?
My dad was named Aswell, Aswell, Guidry, and he was born in Golden Meadow, Louisiana. My mother was named Luella, Louella, Pellegrin, Pellegrin, and she was born in Chauvin, Louisiana.
Okay, and
That is in Terrebonne Parish, so it's a different parish than my dad.
Okay, and what did your parents do for a living?
Well, my dad pretty much started his life like most people in our area. He was a fisherman during the fishing season, and he was a trapper, a fur trapper, muskrats mostly, in the winter season. And at some point, after a while, he went into the boat business, started off with what we call lugger boats. It's a modified shrimping vessel that's used in the oil field. And then in later years, he was the owner and operator of 3 different tugboat companies.
And did your mother have any jobs?
No, my mom never worked.
Okay.
Well, she never worked in any kind of profession, but she helped my dad, in the business.
Mm-hmm.
So, but she never held an outside job.
Okay, and where did your parents raise you as a child?
Where?
Yes.
In the Golden Meadow, Louisiana.
All right. And did you have any siblings?
No, I'm an only child.
Okay. Did you have a favorite relative growing up?
No, I don't really think so. Probably the person I spent the most time with growing up was my grandfather. My grandfather on my dad's side, and he pretty much worked together with my dad, and my grandmother, my father's mother, was very ill all her life, so we all lived in one home, and as a result, I was very close to my grandfather, and we would have some real good, lively, healthy conversations. You know, as I was growing up, and I learned a great deal from my grandfather.
Okay, and what was school like for you as a child?
It was very interesting, and when I began school in the first grade in Golden Meadow, they taught all grades in that school from first through 11th grade at that time, because there were only 11 grades. But an interesting thing was that I was the only bilingual student in my class. Everybody else spoke only French, and I could speak both English and French. I've been bilingual all my life, and always spoke both languages. But in the days when I started school, most kids spoke French. In fact, almost all kids spoke French only. And I always did well in school. Interestingly, that something that you might be interested in is that I would start school in August and September, and then on or about sometime in October, late October, early November, my family would pack up everything that we would need for the next few months, and we would spend our winter months when my dad would trap, which was at an island at a place called Bayou, and that was off the Atchafalaya River, past Morgan City, and we would stay there all during the winter months when my dad was trapping furs, and as a result, my mom would tutor me during the winter months, and when I would return to school back to school in March, I was usually ahead of the other kids. My mom used to make me study real hard, and I was fortunate. I learned well, so I never had any kind of trouble. I never attended a full year of school until I was in the 5th grade. The 5th grade was my first year that I attended school all year. I stayed with someone, with another family, while my parents went trapping that year.
And how was life like when you were trapping with your father?
It was very interesting because it's a very remote area. There were many families from Golden Meadow, Galiana, and all of my mom's family from Chauvin. We all moved all our possessions and everything to our winter home, which was called a camp. And during the daytime, we did a lot of things. We could go trapping if we wanted to, or we could fish, or we could ride in our pirogues, or just do things that kids normally do when they play together, because there were a lot of kids, and it was a pretty good life. Food was always plentiful because we lived a lot off the land. You could have a lot of rabbits and ducks and stuff like that. We had a real good life.
All right, and what was your favorite thing to do as a child?
It's kind of difficult. I was pretty well rounded. When I was real young, I enjoyed playing with my just regular spending time with my neighborhood kids, and just doing the things that were available for us. We could go to the movies usually on Saturday night. That's pretty much about it. And as far as outside about entertainment. Other than that, we found games to play and things to do. Being that I was an only child, I had access to a bicycle when I was young, and most other kids didn't have it. And when I grew up and I became a teenager, I had access to a car, which most teenagers didn't at that time. But when I was in high school, I played football, six-man football, interestingly enough. Most people don't know about that, what a six-man football team is, but we played six-man football, and then later on went to 11-man football. I was pretty much a normal kid, but just with a lot of advantages, simply because most other people had large families, but my family was relatively small, always has been.
All right, and what was something that you liked doing the least?
Studying. Sounds familiar, huh?
Oh yeah, I don't like studying either.
And but I was fortunate, I learned well, and my family expected me to do well in school, and I always did well. And when I finally finished high school, I went on to college, graduated LSU in 1956.
Okay, and so you enjoyed your teenage years?
Very much so. I had a very happy, very successful. I had some real good friends. I still have some of the very same friends now. We don't see each other as much as we'd like to, but for example, some of the same friends I had when I was in high school and in college are my buddies now who attend the LSU games with us. Whenever we go now, which is every weekend in the fall.
Okay, and as you were a teenager, what kind of jobs did you have?
What kind of what, Bucket?
A job.
Most of the time, I did not have jobs while I was in school because my dad required that I spend a lot of time with my studies. However, I did have one meaningful job, and that was working in a grocery store with one of my friends. That's the only one that I really had when I was in high school and college as well, because my dad didn't permit me to spend a lot of time, other than my schoolwork and sometime with my friends. See, my dad never had a formal education, none at all. He went to school one day and went to work, and his thing with me was that I would go to school, that I would graduate high school, that I would go to college, and that I would make something of myself,
Mm-hmm.
And I think my dad was proud of me. He died before I had a chance to, accomplish all the things I wanted to, but by the time I retired, I was principal at Salafouche High School. And I know my dad and my mom would have been my mom was still living. They would have been extremely proud, of what I accomplished.
Okay, and what's your wife's name?
My wife's name is Dorothy, and we call her Dot, D-O-T.
Okay, and when did you first meet her?
She was, when I first met her, she was in high school. I knew about her, but was not interested. But I was in college, and I was in my last year of college when I met her. She's from Golden Meadow as well, and we went to a party one night, and we started talking, and we've been pretty much together ever since. Now we will have been married 55 years on May the 31st of this year.
Okay, and what did you like about Mimi the first time that you saw her?
Well, she's a real pretty lady, as you know, and she's a hard worker, very talented, a great cook, just a great lady. Period. She's just one of the nicest people that you will ever want to meet.
All right, and did you end up when you ended up having children? What were they like growing up?
For them,
Yes.
I think that both you, Mimi and I, have pretty much the same values, and we expected our kids to succeed. We expected them to go to school, do well, to try to excel in their schoolwork, and as a result, we were very proud to say that out of our three children, our oldest, which is my daughter Joan, she's a school teacher at South Lafourche High School and has been for about 30 years. Our eldest son, Lloyd Jr., who is your parent, he's the one you call your parent, I should say. But anyhow, he has a doctor's degree in pharmacy, and your dad, Todd, is an executive with Iberia Bank. And so what happened with them is that they succeeded in school and graduated college and went on to some, what I would call a pretty successful career, each one of them, that they're still in right at this point.
All right, and as an adult, what activities do you enjoy the most?
Well, the number one thing that I've spent a lot of time and unfortunately a lot of money is we go to all of the LSU home games. Since 1959, we have only missed 2 home games. So, over 50 years of making all the home games at LSU. And as you know, you've already been there. We have our own motorhome, and so we go on up to Baton Rouge on Friday nights, and we're there for the game and come home on Sundays. That's probably the biggest activity. We do some traveling, and the rest of our time, in fact, most of our time is really spent with our grandchildren. We have 6 grandchildren, and so we spend a lot of time, or whenever we're able to help out, we help out in that way.
All right, and you mentioned the 2 LSU games that you missed. Do you remember what games they were and why?
Yes, I can. One of the games that I missed was I'm not sure if it's Idaho or Idaho State, but I missed that game because we were in the motorhome traveling toward the game, but there was a hurricane in the Gulf, and we had to keep on going, and we missed the game. The second one that I missed was against Auburn. Don't remember exactly what year, but your grandmother had a minor surgery, and she wanted me to go to the game, but being smart enough to know better, I decided not to go to the game and stay with your grandmother instead. It was a wise decision.
All right. And who do you think had the greatest influence on your life?
Very interesting because I would probably say my mom. Although it's close between my mom and my dad. My dad believed in giving me pretty much, what he thought I should have, and he worked hard, to be able to do that. And but he expected me, to just make sure that I did the right things, like not get in trouble and follow school and stuff like that. And my mom was very influential because she had an 8th grade education, which in those days was considered pretty good. And she was very instrumental in making me study. And she's the one that had set up a rule for me that I had to speak English when I would speak to anyone. The only ones I was allowed to speak French with was my grandmother and my grandfather, and of course with my play buddies. Whenever I was away from her, I could. But other than that, she insisted that I have to speak English to my daddy and to her and to everybody else, so that when I would go to school, I would be well prepared to handle the English language, which was great in our area because kids like to play, and they like it was more fun to speak French with everybody else. But I never got in trouble in school for speaking French because my mom had taught me early on that I had to speak English because that was what was being taught at school. So I would say both my mom and my dad probably equally, but for different reasons.
Okay, and since your parents influenced you like that, did you try to influence your children in any similar ways?
Yes, I think both me and I both did that. School was primary. School was important. It was one of the things that it was a way to be able to be successful in life, and so we raised our children pretty strict. There were rules, and you had to follow them, and we were real good about giving them things and doing things. Things that they like to do. And when I was teaching school, I didn't make a whole lot of money, but I got a lot of part-time jobs. And at one point, me went to work as a paraprofessional in the school system so that we could eventually send the kids off to college. So I think it's pretty much the same way we were raised. Just trying to keep up with the time, however.
Okay. And do you believe that you made any mistakes or encountered any problems throughout your lifetime?
Did I ever make mistakes?
Yes.
Well, not really any that I want to admit to, but I was like everyone else. There were some things that I did in my lifetime that I guess if I look back on it, I wouldn't be particularly proud of, But I never got in trouble, never went to jail, never hurt anybody, and so I think I did well, and so did your grandmother. So, and we tried to import that kind of living with your dad and his brother and sister.
All right. So, do you have any advice for our family's future children?
One of the things that I learned in my 40 years in education, I learned that everyone is different. And just because you're different doesn't make it, just because you're different doesn't make it bad or good. I think that the biggest thing that I learned in my life is to learn to deal with people, whoever they are and whatever differences that you may have. You have to try to get along. That's probably the biggest thing I learned in my lifetime.
All right, and would you like to share some of your strengths and weaknesses with me?
I tend to be lazy sometimes, and only in the sense that I'm like everybody else. I guess I do better the things that I like to do than those that I really don't like to do. And that's an old habit. I'll tell you something that's really kind of funny. It's kind of like when I get ready to eat lunch, and if there's something on my plate that I don't like as well as anything else, I'll eat that first, and I'll eat the good stuff last. And I kind of feel that life is like that, I guess my biggest weakness is not pushing myself probably as hard as I could have. On the other hand, I think my biggest strength was in using, my brain enough to do well for myself and for my family, and in education in particular. Like I said, I was an educator for 40 years. 7.5 of those years was as a disciplinarian at South Lafourche High School, and 7.5 I was principal. So I know that I had to have some strength to be able to do that. So I think it's pretty much as far as I'd go with that.
All right, and can you tell me about one of the happiest and one of the saddest times in your life?
I think that the happiest time of my life would be, the birth of the children. We wanted children, and the birth of a child is always such a gift. And I was really proud of all three of ours. As I said, we have a daughter and 2 sons, and so those were probably the happiest days of my life, overall. The worst time in my life was the loss of my parents. They passed away. My father passed away at a fairly early age. He died died in a car accident. My mom died. She was 90 years old, so she had a good life, and so. But that's always the saddest times, probably in a person's lifetime. Other than that, don't have any real regrets about anything. I pretty much had a good life.
Okay, and you mentioned the business that your dad had, the boats.
Yes.
Why didn't you take on that business?
That's also a very interesting thing. I loved education. I loved teaching. I loved the school I was in, and that always been a pretty good livelihood for me. And I had to make that decision because, as I said, my dad died in a car accident. It was kind of sudden, and I had to make a decision as to what I was going to do. So what I did do for a long time, your grandmother and I, what we did is that we ran the boat companies. We had 3 boat companies. We ran those, and also I remained on my teaching job until I got to the point that I said, I've got to part ways with one or the other. And I had a situation where I loved being with young people, particularly young adults, young adolescents in high school like you and your classmates. I like to do that, so I pretty much had to decide whether I was going to do that or go into the business. And the business itself it's a tough business. You make a lot of money sometimes, but sometimes things are tough, and it's hard to handle. It's a very competitive business, and we made the decision, your grandmother and I, that it'd be best if I stayed in education. So I eventually got rid of the whole thing, and we decided to stay just with education.
All right, and if you could do one thing over throughout your life, what would it be?
I've thought about that many times, and actually, it might sound a little conceited, but I don't know that there's anything I would do different. I really am not positive that there's anything that I would do different. I do think about this, and this might help you with what you're looking for here, is that when I was in college, I was like most other students who are in college. You struggle with knowing exactly what it is you want to do. So I thought about maybe petroleum engineering because of the oil industry in our area, and we were in the business with boats and stuff like that. And so I thought about that, and but at some point, I just found out that I wasn't too interested in that. I toyed with the idea of geology, which was related to petroleum technology, and that didn't cut it for me. And I kept on, and I looked back, and some of the other ideas that I had, things that I think I would have enjoyed doing, would have been law. I think I would have enjoyed being a lawyer, or possibly even an architect. So, there was a lot of options for me, and I did well in school. So, it was a matter of finding what I liked. And if this is going to help you with your interview here, I ended up in education because I had a roommate who was sold on being a teacher at LSU, and he was really smart, did well for himself, and he knew I was struggling with trying to decide what I wanted to become. And so he said, "You know what?" He said, "Why don't you come to class with me for a couple of days?" He said, "You're going to love teaching." And he said, "Besides that, that's where all the pretty girls are." So I did spend a couple of days with him, and I was very interested. And the following semester, I went in education, and that's how I became a teacher. And I think it was a good choice.
All right, so is there anything else that you'd like to add?
No, I appreciate the fact that you called me and wanted to do this interview. And of course, I'm always interested in education. I spend time at Holy Rosary, where I have 2 grandchildren in school. I spend time at South Lafourche High School when they need me for projects and stuff. And I'm always interested in young people, and I want to see all young people succeed. You know, we have such good things going on in our schools, and I wish that everybody knew, like I do, all of the good things that go on in school, and all of the good kids, you know, that never get the credit. You know, like we hear about the bad things about school, but I just wish that everybody would know more about all the good things that go on in school. And I wish everybody would get to know you like I know you, because you really are something special.
All right, I think that's it.
Okay?
All right, thank you so much, Papa.
Okay, and listen, after you go over this, if you need clarification, just call me anytime and we'll take care of it.
All right, I love you so much.
Love you too, and I hope you do good.
All right, thank you, and you're a great man, Papa.
Let me know if the tape came out good enough.
All right, I'll let you know.
Well, I'm a little bit hoarse because I've been out there cutting the grass, and the allergies are acting up, but I think it should be clear enough.
All right, I think it should be good.
And if your classmates laugh at me because I have such an accent, tell them that it doesn't bother me because I'm still bilingual. I speak more French than English. So, okay?
All right. Well, thank you so much.
All right, love you.
Love you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.